Welcome to Jolene's Books and Writers Talk, where stories begin long before the first page, and writing is more than words on a screen. I'm your host, Jolene McFadden, and each week I sit down with authors and publishing professionals to talk about craft, creativity, and the real life behind the books. These episodes are sponsored by Southern Dragon Publishing. Please take a few seconds and hit the like button, share this and other episodes, subscribe to our channel, and even leave a nice comment below. Let's begin.
My name is Georgette Beck, and I am a new author. We published on Amazon Junk to Jewels, a journey from brokenness and despair to beauty and delight. And it's a nonfiction, faith based, and it's about my story of when I was that person who cried out on the floor of what was supposed to be a dream home closet, prayed, cried for help because my first life was ending, as I call it. The words, I want a divorce, that I've used all of the time to say, please pay attention. We need to take this seriously. Let's talk. Let's get help. It was all of a sudden now it was a serious thing, and the other person agreed. So I married very young. I talk about the importance of knowing who you are and generational repeat. I learned all of that later as I walk through my story. But God, someone heard that prayer, and it was God. When no one else showed up, someone heard me, and all of a sudden, I call them divine appointments, just circumstances, one thing after the next, and my healing journey began. And I learned about that things we can get restoration, health, transformation, especially when you ask for help. So I was plugged into a move from one area to the next, Connecticut to Florida, plugged in a church after finding a Christian school for my daughter. The marriage was in limbo. We had moved with the understanding that we would give it another go. But honestly, you can't give it a go if two hearts aren't 100% committed. And that was not the case. So for over a year, we were in the limbo land, as I call it. It's edge of hell. So do you want me to keep sharing about the story or?
This is up to you. We've got 15
Oh,
minutes that you can fill up
oh.
if you want.
So it has three sections: rescue, wilderness to the promised land. I'm very vulnerable. I'm a heart matters person anyways, but it was hard to be so vulnerable. It's called junk to jewels for a reason. I felt I was junk. I had no value or self-worth. I thought I was invisible. I was ignored. I felt I was the unfavored one and all those kinds of things. A lot of shame, self-esteem stuff, and worth and value. Like for sure, I did not think I had that. But then slowly but surely, with God and my faith community plugged me into, I worked for a nonprofit. That was my very first job. That was a hookup, and it was a Christian environment. So I had all these ladies around me just loving on me. Got hooked up into a really powerful Bible study that these strong women, it took me under their wing and saw me. And no matter what, I was such a mess. They still prayed for me and kept praying for me. They didn't give up on me. And then through that community, I started to see myself in a different way. I found counseling and small groups, Al Anon groups, adult children of alcoholics. I started the journey of learning who my family was, where I'd come from, why I was the way I was, why I made certain decisions. I learned I had a root fear of abandonment and loss. That came back from my parents' own divorce, separation, remarriage. Like they found faith and their marriage got saved. They remarried. But that whole season of my life, a lot of upheaval. And then when I was little, there's a reason why to being taken to Poland, which is wonderful. My grandma had a reunion with her sister. She hadn't seen her since World War II. While we were in Poland, the cousins were so excited. They invited my mom and my aunt up to the mountains to go hiking and have a trip for a while. And they were gone 10 days, but I woke up and found my mom gone. And that was the root, I think, of where it started, that abandonment. But then later I found out generational repeat, what my grandma must have went through and her own father when they went through a divorce and he was left and she had a lot of stuff go on. But in the book, I share all that. And I'm here to say, listen, second chances are always possible. Hell, a transformation's possible. Restoration, that education decision. I didn't go to college. I was all set to go to Oral Roberts University, but I didn't go because I was in a relationship with someone that I perceived of a love relationship and I couldn't leave it. So I didn't go to college. I married him instead a year later after high school. And the first thing that got restored baseball is one, but I'll backtrack on that. But he restored education. I felt led one night. I became an insurance agent, producer, but I had an epiphany in my apartment while my daughter was sleeping with music. I was just like, you know what? I don't want to do this forever. I don't want to just do sales and development. Like, I love people, but I want to help people like people help my daughter and I, because we wouldn't have made it without the church community. They gave us Christmas presents that I couldn't do. They helped us with rent sometimes, and other people helped us too when we needed different things throughout the years of the single mom years when I worked a lot of jobs. But I didn't see that as my future. So I knew I was going to go to the college the next day and apply or ask questions. And I had no idea because, mind you, I'm working a lot of jobs, my daughter, her school, and I have no money. So how's that going to work? But I knew I had to go. I had this feeling. So I applied. And then sometime after, I got a phone call and the lady said, "You qualify for grants." And I said, "Excuse me?" Well, she said, "Yeah, your financial situation, what your situation is. Yeah, there's some grants." I got to go to college. And so now the schedule was my daughter was the primary. And then I went to school and worked jobs around the school. I got my liberal arts and then my Bachelor of Arts in Education. And then later in life, when I found the second chance guy, we got our master's degree in human services, marriage, family counseling. So listen, whatever you're supposed to do, it's never too late to go for your dream or your purpose. So that was huge. So the book shares all the junk, but the junk turns to jewels because it's from our pain we find our purpose. We find it. And there are second chances and third chances. I was being helped miraculously. And then when I messed up, I thought, oh no, God's going to stop helping us because I couldn't explain how I was able to do rent every month. When I tried to write out a budget, it just never would add up, but it always worked. And when I messed up, I was like, oh no, God's going to stop helping me. But no, that's when he said, no, I don't ever leave or abandon you. I'm not going to stop. It's through me loving you that you're thriving. That's how I got secure in that unconditional love I never knew until this journey. So yeah, this is a book to give people hope and encouragement and inspiration, no matter where they find themselves. If they're going through a divorce or if they're like I was, had no clue who I was, or I thought I had no value or purpose. If you're having a life change, you had a great job and then all of a sudden they said they don't like you no more. That's happened too in my life. Listen, it's all going to work out. So this book is an inspiration. It's definitely one for young moms out there, single moms for sure. Yeah. And if you don't understand about your family, your personality, ask questions. Who are you and why are you here? We all have a reason. We're gifted in things. So I went on this journey of what are my gifts? I learned that I love flowers. I love the ocean and the beach and everything matters. We each have different personalities and desires, and it's important to know them. And I'm a reader and a learner. So I just suggest how strongly adding perspective to yourself every day is better. It's good. It's good. So the more books, the more podcasts you listen to, the more people you meet and travel, for sure. It's a story of hope and second chances. Yes, there is romance. It's a love story. It starts with faith. That's the big love. And then, of course, I meet my second chance guy. And then I have a part 2, a second book will come out, and that'll be what happens next. So that one also had some difficult times and seasons. But no matter what season we find ourselves, there's always a light in the midst of a challenge. I remember I was taught the valley has the richest soil. So when you're in that valley and you don't see any light because it's dark, just rest assured, no season lasts forever. And what you learn in that time is a jewel. It does morph into jewels. So,
Excellent. Very good. Thanks for sharing. Let's talk about writing and the writing process.
yes. Oh my gosh.
What books helped you the most when you were writing your first book?
I have a pile in my other room here in my house. I didn't even know I was supposed to be a writer. My mom was a writer too. And what gets me too is she never shared. She burned her writing because of fear. So in my heart of hearts, I pray with all my heart. And I'm not a young chickie anymore. And this book was later in life. And I said, God, don't let me die without this dream seeing the light of day. Because I saw what happened before me. Magazines. I found the Writer's Digest, Poets and something. So you research, how do writers live? What do writers do? The Writer's Life was a book. I have so many. If you name the names, I will be like, yes. Stephen King, he's got a writer's book. If you pause, I'll go get my pile, but I have them in my other room because I have them nearby. They're my resources. And it's great to read through what other writers say. Anne Lamott, even just reading great writing, for instance, great books. Anne Lamott's series, she showed me by just reading what she wrote. I have so many books around me that they inspire me. Lisa Scottaline's one because I talk like her. So her whole memoir series, I learned a lot there.
Resources.
And I journal too. So journal, you practice writing. Oh, The Artist's Way, for sure. Julian Cameron, The Artist's Way. Yeah, go for that.
All righty. If you were able to be mentored by a famous author, which one would it be?
I'm a self-development affirmation person. So Brendan Bouchard, Ed Milet, Mel Robbins is a recent. I love what she's saying and doing. Jamie Kern-Lima, she's up there with me. Tony Robbins, all of those are in that line of be better every day, thinking, be your best, don't give up. There's some fiction ones. I have piles of books in this room too, but I'm trying to see the names because I read so many. Oh, those are my gurus. Karen Schaller, Schaler, Marla Thomas, they did some good book projects. Jenna Kutcher wrote a book. But again, those are how to be a good entrepreneur, how to do those things. Kendra Scott wrote a book and she wrote about her life journey. She went from like nothing and working it to something, and now she's quite up there. So those stories inspire me. Life stories. That's why I do a podcast, because I collect stories. We learn from each other's journeys, no matter what the background. So, yeah, I would like to meet those people.
Being as you're such an avid reader, I would think that there would be a couple of books that you read more than once.
The self-development ones I do. Fiction ones, not so much, because once I'm in that story, I already know the ending. And so Norman Vincent Peale is one I reread all of the time. Brendan Bouchard is going to be his book. I'm going to have to reread it because there's a lot of meat in his business book. Yeah, I read all the self-development ones. Oh, Brian Tracy's book, John Maxwell. I will reread those ones because you forget the principles.
Yes, and you always learn something new.
Absolutely. Even like I said, I'm a faith person. Even the Bible, I've been reading it over and over and over again because first you definitely forget all of it. And it's a big book. So
Yes, tiny print. Trying to get
yes,
that in there. Would you ever consider doing any fiction writing? And if so, which genre?
yes, romance.
Of course.
I want to write a book based on my mom and dad's love story, and that'll be my first one. And I love romance. I'm a romance girl. I call myself a Hallmark girl. I see why Hallmark resonates with folks because we can see ourselves in a story and there's no junk. Of course, we have tough stuff in life, but you want that romance. You want a happy ending. Love Actually. I rewatched that movie recently. And then I said to myself, that's going to be every year we watch this. Seriously, because it's so cute and funny. Stories like that just make you feel good and then make you want to be, again, better and not to give up. If you're having a tough time, don't give up.
Who is your biggest supporter of your writing?
My husband.
Good. Good.
Yeah. He was one of the first readers of the book. And he comes into my office and he's crying. I'm like, what's wrong? And he goes, Georgette, this is good. And he'll explain it. When you live with someone, you know them in one way. Like you see what they are. Now, mind you, I've been talking about this book for decades because this has been 27 years since I first knew I was going to be a writer. And then a lot of years working on this project. He said, it's one thing to have you say it and talk it, but I didn't have that expectation that you could do that. And then it's different when I read it. This is going to help a lot of people. Like this is going to touch hearts. And that's my desire, is that every heart who reads this will receive something. Whoever reads these words, they'll find their encouragement somewhere.
Okay, so this is your stage of your life that you're doing most of your writing.
Now we're my second chance marriage. This May will be 21 years of marriage. I have one daughter. He has 3 daughters. So it was a blended family. And now we have 8 grandchildren, 7 grandsons, and 1 girl. She just got born.
That is so great.
Yeah, I'm Grammy and my husband's Pop Up.
All righty. So you do a podcast.
Yes, called Junk to Jewels Podcast with Georgette Beck. I started off doing it because I was going to share about all the books I've read and what I've learned because not everyone reads like we do. I'm a communicator and a teacher, so I was going to do that and then talk about my Junk to Jewels book. But all of a sudden, I started meeting all these people coming to me, and I was like, you know what? Would you share your story? And it's been about other people's journeys and stories. I even talked to someone from Africa and another country too. So it's whoever comes to me. And I said, would you like to be on? So now with technology, we can talk to anyone anywhere and do that. So whoever comes across the Junk Digitals podcast, they'll be inspired in some way and encouraged, no matter what their story is, wherever they are in it, because there's a beginning, middle, and end. But guess what? Junk to Jewels repeats. So you can have a great season and go to a valley and come up to a mountaintop again. So this is what it is.
As a technical question for other authors who may be inspired to start podcast, do you have any particular software that you recommend to start out with?
Oh, I was an over planner, overthinker, and I did research for too long of how to do it. I read some books, which I recommend. I did watch some YouTube videos, and then I bought all this equipment and invested because I wanted the best of the best. But then a friend came to me. He comes and says, I'll come check out what you got for free. He's a video producer and he helps other people do it. I'll give you 6 free recordings if you'll partner with me for a bit. And he looked at my stuff and he's, you can send all this back. Just use the Zoom platform. And you know what? I needed that kick in the butt because I'm an over perfectionist. What I recommend highly, just do it. Just start where you are. A lot of people I hear use their phone straight up. Start there then. So this guy really helped me get out of my comfort zone and just do it. And now I do. And I bought a camera. I've got the nice microphone, FIFINE. I wanted a good mic. I've got another microphone for guests in person, but Zoom platform is working right now for me. Will that be forever? I don't know. Once we grow and develop, and I probably will get different equipment and more cameras. So it's like, when I have someone in the office, I use my phone as the second camera on me. So he taught me just do it, and I record it and I send it to him and he puts it together. So here's the thing too, I learned community. We're meant to help each other. So sometimes I learned when I thought I didn't have enough time or didn't have enough money, when I asked someone to help me, and that's the thing, ask for help, they do. And you're helping them do their gift and they're helping you to do yours. Collaborate, partner, reach out. I network in the community too. And that's how I met people. So I network, I go to different meetings, and FaceTime with people's critical. And that's how you develop relationships.
Do you participate in any local writers group?
I did. And actually, my very first writing was a writers group many years ago in our church writers group, and it's called Launching Out. And we all contributed pieces. So there's some poems in there that I did, like my mini story version, but not writers group right now because I was finishing this book. I have a podcast, we have a nonprofit, and I'm a realtor. I wear a lot of hats. I network for all of the endeavors. So I'm in networking things. I go to different breakfasts and after hour events and lunches. And I just found Go Get a Girl Network here in our area. And I know she's wanting to expand. And I met entrepreneurs like myself. I always thought I was weird. Like people was like, why are you so busy? Why are you always doing this and that? I felt bad about that. And why do I read like crazy and want to learn like crazy? I felt bad until I learned, whoa, my dad was this way. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a creative. And we never stop with ideas. They just keep coming. I have book projects galore ready to go. I have a whole list. Ideas come easy to me. And now I learned why. And they help. So what it is, find your tribe. Whatever genre you're interested in, go find people from that background and then go meet people that are different than you. For sure.
I would make a suggestion. When you get to the point in your life when you're ready to try romance, the Romance Writers of America is still
I heard of them.
First Coast Romance Writers. They're based out of Jacksonville, Florida.
That's 4 hours from me. That's not so bad. So they have an online
They
presence?
do. They started doing Zoom with, of course, the COVID, but I've created a platform for them so that every time they do a monthly writers workshop, and they have anthologies, romance anthologies 3 times a year to help new writers to get exposed. Then after 6 months, you get your rights back to the story. They automatically
Great.
revert back to you.
I'm gonna look that up.
They're expanding out. We're trying to come up with a marketing pod for just romance writers, and we're working on that as something in the future. But I created a members only site for them that has a lot of resources on it,
Okay.
articles and videos and stuff like that, all contained.
I'll check
And the
that out.
membership is only $50 a year, and you get
Yeah.
they do the second Saturday of the month. You can either come into the library where they hold it or go on Zoom. And if you ever wanted to do one of those, let me know and I can send you a link. Your first one is free. You don't have to join. You can see the first one for free.
For the Zoom meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Put me on your list.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. I want to ask you one last question.
Yes.
If you could invite 3 people, no matter where they are in history, bring them back alive or whatever, to sit at your dinner table at different times, which 3 people would you like to ask questions of and why?
Live? Anyone?
Yeah, anybody throughout history or time. I know everybody says Jesus. They all want to know.
That's a given. There's like Dolly Parton. She's come to my attention because I'm really embracing who I am at this. I'm like 56 going on 57. I'm embracing these are my better years now. And she's kicking butt and taking names. And I like the fact that she kept her boundaries from the very beginning. She knew who she was. Like I didn't have that like she did, but I loved how she did that and kept herself all the years, and she's still kicking. I got her perfume. I got her jewelry. She partnered with Kendra Scott. I'm following that girl. I got her books, her music, of course, we love, but and her movies. And she's a giver. She's giving books. So she's doing all of the things. She's an entrepreneur. She's a musician. She's an artist. She's doing all of the things, and I love it. The creativity. And she's a show and tell of what we all can be with our creativity. There is no limit. If you want to do photography, play the piano like me, play the piano, paint, go and do a business. Yes. And you know what? We're here for a very short time. Go live large. And she's a show and tell. I would want to meet her for sure. And I'm looking at my little list. And there's Louisa May Alcott, Madeline Engel. I already mentioned Norman Vincent Peale, and you said only 3, but Jane Austen, there's things to her we don't know. She's a mystery. Like we know some things, but there's other books now that are writing other parts to her life. But Louisa May Alcott, I just loved her. And Madeline Engel, I would like to get to know. Yeah. Oh, and Mauve. That's a fiction writer. She's not with us anymore, but her books, I fell in love with her series. And I don't remember her last name. She's Ireland, or her stories were set in England or Ireland. Mauve, Mauve. In fact, I had her card in here too. She passed away and they sent us all a card, people who were following her. But she was a good fiction writer. You'd get into her series and you'd get to know all the characters as she bounced between the settings and characters. And then you really got attached to everybody. And one book was about a restaurant and how the restaurant person just knew everybody. And it was just fun. And when her book ended every time, I was like, oh. And then, of course, romance. You got to know Georgette Heyer then. I saw the name Georgette. She had my same name. And then later, that's what it'll look like in print. But I loved how she wrote. And I like the older writers, antique books to me. And I know I went off on a tangent here. I'm sorry, but antique stories are the best. You go find an old book and read those books, the fiction or novel even. The thinking and the writing is just glorious to me, like just glorious. I want my vocabulary to be like theirs. They just articulated it so beautifully. And the adjectives were nonstop. I just loved them. I loved it.
If you're considering doing romance, would you create a pen name just for that, or do you think it just keep going?
Nope. I'm gonna listen. Like Taylor Swift, she's being herself. She's another one.
Oh yeah,
go girl. That's what I gotta say. No, I'm Georgette Beck, and guess what? These are all the things in my heart. And I envision I want to do music projects and movie projects. So it's gonna be this is what we can create, and they all intertwine. You can have an inspirational romance, And that's what I hope to do with my stories, because I love inspiration and self-development and success principles. I love that stuff. We have to tell the truth to our brain, especially if we don't have people speaking truth into our life, healthy truth. We have to do that for ourselves. Find the words that speak life and show possibility and opportunity, and you make those things happen. You try and work hard. No, I'd keep my name.
Good. All right. Everybody has their own thing, and you don't have
Mhm.
to really change your branding or anything like that and get a website, use social
No.
media. Like me,
Yep.
I chose the pen name.
There's others that did too, and then later they combined them. So all their book lists, they have under their this name is these books, and then the pen name when they later combined it for themselves. I guess that was a marketing thing. Maybe they wanted to show people like there's other sides to this. But
Well,
yeah,
actually, a lot of it comes from traditional publishing. Um,
yeah.
I had a mentor that was with 3 or 4 different publishers during her reign.
Oh,
Um,
oh wow.
3 Lifetime Romance Award winner and all this fun stuff. But
Cool.
she had to change her name for different publishing houses.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I can
but
understand. Yeah.
yeah,
They didn't want you to go out of your lane. They
right.
didn't let you do that. With music too.
Mm.
If you were a country singer, you were forever or acting too. Golly, if you were in one movie, Matthew McConaughey, he'd be another one I'd want to sit down with. I read his Greenlight book. He wanted serious movies. He was stuck in that romance lane. They wouldn't let him out, but then he forced it out. He had to make a very hard decision and disappear for a while. He talks about that. He's awesome. I would love to meet him too. So,
He is a character,
yeah.
that's for sure.
Yes, he is.
All right, Miss Georgette, thank you so much for participating in my podcast.
Thank
And
you, Jolene. This
I
was
will
fun.
You've been listening to Jolene's Books and Writers Talk. You'll find links to my guests, their books, and additional resources in the show notes. If this conversation inspired you, follow or subscribe wherever you listen. And join me again next week for another journey into the world of writing.